There's only one thing more contagious than enthusiasm, and that's the lack of it.
I told him the best thing that I have found in having a relationship was being able to hear myself speak through problems and never knowing that I needed that.
Pop out the other side of that storm, you have a much deeper appreciation for the beauty and for the strength that you've acquired through those things. And what spills for me is always the love that I have for people and how to express that.
What would you say would make for a good reset if somebody is veering off that path and maybe letting stress weigh them down? And how do you re-find yourself in finding love in others?
Yeah. What's everybody fighting for? Why can't people help people? That's the question.
Oh my God, it's people helping people!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another amazing episode of People Helping People. Yeah, feels good. We are back. We have taken a week off and we are back for our first episode of Chapter 4. And man, oh man, am I excited. We have a new schedule. We're going to get into all these things later, but Chapter 4 is called Soul Purpose. S-O-L-E, purpose. And our purpose here in Chapter 4 is just that, to put some new souls, some new shoes onto kids' feet. So we'll dive deeper into that later into the episode. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we have an incredible guest today, and he is the only guest in over 100 episodes of People Helping People that I give the reins to. He's so well-spoken. He carries so much wisdom and inspiration in everything that he does in life. And so when he comes on the show, I say, you know what? You pick a topic and let's riff. So today, the man, the myth, the legend, the one, the only, Mr. Jeffrey Vanderveer. Welcome back.
Well, it's a pleasure and an honor to be back with you, my wonderful nephew. And with accolades like that, this better be good.
Yeah, I mean, I was just telling the audience, it's like not in People Helping People history, I have never just given somebody the reins, the trust of taking the wheel and knowing that you're going to put it in gear and get us where we need to go no matter what. You always carry so much wisdom and you always have so much insight and inspiration to share. And I just feel as though no matter what walk of life is listening to this conversation, there is a nugget to be dropped and picked up by somebody, somewhere, somehow, in any walk of life. And I just think that's a beautiful thing. And I'm looking forward to the conversation today.
Oh, bless your heart, buddy. It's always my humble delight to come on and share with you, and because you're doing such a great job. And this program with putting shoes on the feet of these young kids is just astounding. I just
Get these kids new boot goofing. I just remember when I was a kid, not often did I get brand new shoes. But when I did, I would go to school with my chin a little higher, my chest out a little more. And there was something that you exude a new form of confidence with just having a new pair of shoes on. So I thought it'd be a great way to give back.
Well, and it's a perfect segue to our conversation this evening.
Yeah.
Because we're going to talk about some very soulful things.
Ooh, I love it. Come on, man. Come on. Let's dive into it because we discussed tonight we're going to be discussing a few incredible topics that I think anybody listening will be able to take something from and integrate into their life. especially with the wisdom that you have and carry with you about empathy and love and relationships, appreciation and gratitude. I mean, all of these things, it's a balancing act sometimes to keep one in line with the other. And so I'll be really interested to hear about which topic you pick first and how we can dive into it.
You got it. You got it. And first of all, I don't want anybody to get the idea that I'm all, flowers and roses and scented candles every day of my life and all of that. All of it from a great deal of trial and mostly error, some mistakes that I've made, some deep diving into myself and relationships, some very, very tough times, as you know. And when you pop out the other side of that storm, you have a much deeper appreciation for the beauty and for the strength that you've acquired through those things. And what spills for me is always the love that I have for people and how to express that.
Yeah, I want to touch on that because I think that so many people walk through life and life is happening and there's pain involved and there's this, it can feel constricting at times, hard to breathe, and it's so common, and people don't realize the wisdom that they carry within those things that have happened to them that they have survived, and being able to share those stories with others, being able to reconcile with people that may be going through the same thing, that change in mindset of how maybe you got through or the lessons that you learned on the other side is so helpful and so insightful. And you never know, sometimes just having a conversation like this, it could change a life.
Well, let's hope so. And that's the whole purpose of this is people helping people. And sometimes we have to help each other through the storms. And we've had some weather lately. And all of us have to get through it. I think I've mentioned this in one of the other podcasts about the difference between cattle and buffalo. When cattle see a storm coming, they turn away from it and run. And inevitably, that storm catches up with them. And when it does, they're already exhausted.
Mm.
And many of them perish in the flood, in the water. They get stuck in the mud, or they just get exhausted and can't deal with it. Buffalo, on the other hand, when they see the storm coming, they turn and face it and go right into the storm because they know it's going to take a lot less time and the pain will be limited during that time, and they're going to come out the other side in a lot better shape for it and not exhausted with the trial. So turning and facing the obstacles that we have in life and knowing how to do that with some tools is really an advantage to those of us who do go through tough times, which is pretty much everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, I think everybody's guilty.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's nonstop. But like, what are some of the tools that you have acquired over time to get through that storm faster? What is it that gets you through that storm?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, let's bring that in through the back door a little bit.
Sure.
I have engaged many, many times in conversations about love and appreciation and what that looks like in relationships. And diving down that rabbit hole, I have found that I cannot control her love or his love or anyone else's love for me. I can only control and identify and manage as best I can my own.
Hmm.
So, in order to identify when and how it manifests itself in me when I'm truly in love, is that here's what it looks like. Her tears fall from my eyes. Every tear falls from my eyes.
Hmm.
When her heart breaks, it shatters in my chest. And when she smiles, that smile pops onto my face.
Mm.
When her eyes glisten, it charges me up. It lifts my heart and overwhelms me with joy.
The empathy of love.
The empathy of love, feeling her while I'm enjoying that experience myself.
Mm.
And the when I look at opportunities to go one direction or another, I ask myself, okay, what is my most selfish desire here? What would please me more than anything else? My own personal selfish indulgence. What, what would I do with that? When the answer is to make her joyful, happy, to give her a little laugh, to make her more secure, to delight her in some way, that becomes my greatest gift and my greatest experience. That is my personal, most selfish indulgence. Now I know I'm on the right track.
I love that. And you talked too, you said the empathy of love. I think that when people think of empathy, when I think of empathy, at least until this conversation that we're having, I think of the negatives. Like I feel people's hurt and pain, and I feel it's almost like a kinetic energy. For example, when I went to Las Vegas last, I had to get out of I left. I was supposed to be there for 3 days. I left a day early. My hotel room was paid for. I just said I could not take it anymore because of me being so empathic and feeling people gambling their life savings away and cheating on their wives, and it just something about that letting go, and that it I needed to rid myself of it, and I drove straight to San Diego and jumped in the ocean. I just get the salt water on my skin. I was like, I gotta shake that. But I
It,
think that people usually associate empathy with some sort of negative connotation.
it's true. And I think it's because the negative experiences that we have are most impactful. And that's why we carry with us some disempowering beliefs, some programming that is more disabling than enabling. When we think about our lifetimes, we're hard on ourselves because we look more deeply into our failures. They have impacted us at a deeper level. Our successes are wonderful. And when you're being applauded and appreciated, it's very nice. And we work towards that. And while doing so, we challenge those things that keep holding us back. We challenge those that difficulty that we've manifested for ourselves that say, yeah, but who are you? Well, you're just an imposter. That's not no. The reality is innately from birth and prior, if you will, we have the ability to love deeply, to have that empathy. And yeah, we have to put on the armor once in a while. And sometimes that armor gets pierced and we got to go dive in the ocean.
Yeah, we got to patch it up real quick. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh,
But quick question. So somebody listening to this right now is like, yes, absolutely. That all sounds great. That's amazing. I would love to find the empathic side of me and use that for love. But what are some of the tools you can give somebody to practice that? Tonight's episode of People Helping People Live is sponsored by Mike Silkowski. He's your local partner in getting your message in front of the right people. Mike specializes in helping businesses right here in Southern Arizona reach their ideal customers through TV and streaming services. He's not just sponsoring this chapter 3 of People Helping People, he's building partnerships, and he doesn't succeed unless you do. If you're ready to grow your business with someone who's invested in your success, call Mike at 515-305-5311. Again, that's 515-305-5311. But what are some of the tools you can give somebody to practice that?
Yeah, yeah, good question, and we'll dive in. Many of us, I don't know if it's quite as common now, but mom used to tell us, hey, when some tragic is coming down, when you feel angry, and you're not communicating well, take a breath and count to 10. That
Mm.
used to be a common thing, and it was a very simple thing, but I don't know how much that comes up in conversation these days. But I totally agree with that. As a matter of fact, count to 10 or maybe 110, or maybe you don't respond at all,
Take a moment.
at least a moment.
Mm.
One of the most difficult things for people to do, particularly men, if I may, is to just shut up. we, have,
All right.
we have a tough time shutting up because,
Me shutting up? No way.
no, not going to happen.
Yeah.
We, yeah, we either want to defend a position, put our 2 cents worth in,
Ego
make
and pride.
right, the ego and the pride get involved in all of that. And even while we're listening, we're thinking about the answer that we're going to give, and our this tongue is a double-edged sword. It's a wicked thing, and it can cause a lot of damage. And we've talked about this before, how powerful verbiage is.
Mm.
So, and I've said never make a permanent decision based on temporary circumstances.
Ooh, so
Con- right?
so good. That's so good. Yes,
Uh,
absolutely.
you
Don't
know,
be rash. Don't
don't
be
be
rash.
don't be rash. And
Make sure the water's deep enough.
before you dive, put your foot in a little bit.
Yeah.
See what you got. You might bump your face on the bottom, or you might go a little too deep.
Yeah.
So if we just take a breath, take a moment, relieve ourselves of the responsibility, because who gave us the responsibility to be the fixer or the contributor? Conversations are temporary. And sometimes the verbiage that we put into that conversation is permanent.
Mm.
So to make the decision to be more calculated, and I don't mean calculated in terms of manipulating, I mean calculated in terms of what are going to be the results of the next words that I speak.
Ah, yeah.
What's the result of this? Is it necessary? Sometimes it's necessary to
Yeah.
keep you out of trouble or yourself. Sometimes if it's necessary to be revealing, if you want to reveal something to someone, it's very, very easy for them to take that as criticism or diminishing.
Mm.
So we have to be very, very careful. And that's the calculation that I'm talking about. We have to be careful to word it in such a way that it comes from a place of love, understanding, appreciation.
Yeah. Gosh, as you're saying that, I love what you just said there. It's beautiful. I hope everybody's listening and taking note because, Kayla and I very, very seldomly have any sort of banter or argument. We've been best friends for so long, like it just fell into a relationship. And when we do, it is us having the same point. I have to pull, and what you're talking about right now, I've put into practice of us arguing the same point. We're on the same team. And when I pull myself back for a moment and kind of calculate each side of this discussion and realize that the solution is been there the whole time. It's exactly what we're both trying to get to. And really it's hand in hand. And it takes that moment of taking a quick step back and realizing like that, for one, is this meaningful? Is this doing anybody any good?
Right.
And two, what is my purpose in this conversation? Like what am I trying to get to? Like you said, am I trying to say I'm right? Are we trying to come to a mutual agreement? Is there something that, is there a discrepancy that needs solved? But what I found is that we are a team. We are partners in this. And so at the end of the day, no matter how this particular discussion goes, keeping that in mind and knowing that pulling back and realizing that it's not a push and pull, a give and take. It's us saying, okay, this is the solution and this is why we're having this discussion right now. It doesn't have to be an argument. It can be a discussion.
Yeah, yeah. And whether you're going to come in the front door or the back door, you're both going to get to the living room at the same time.
Yeah, and we're going to be sleeping next to each other, so we
That's
better figure it
right.
out.
That's right. Yeah, and that too. And so here's a tool. Here's a bit of a nugget to practice in conversation, particularly when you have met with a moment of disagreement, when you truly have differences of opinions. Somebody says something, and you're going to respond. If the first word out of your mouth is yes, exactly, now they relax and they're listening because they're expecting to hear something that underpins, agrees with, and strengthens their position.
That's such a good exercise.
And now you can say just about anything you want.
Yeah.
They're expecting to be supported.
Yeah. It's yes and the old sales pitch coming from, sales background. Yes and.
Yes and, or yes, absolutely. The yes and is a little overused, so I try to avoid cliches like the plague.
Yeah.
And so I'll say, yeah, absolutely, because, and then I'll give them my point of view on it. And they're looking for substance to support their position.
Mm.
Interesting about it is that sometimes, even though you are giving them a different perspective on the same concept and perhaps expanding it because it's not what they were thinking and what they were saying, they're listening and thinking to themselves, is that what I was thinking? And is that what I believe? And yeah, I guess it really is. If I dig deep and look at it, yeah. Yeah, okay. And it might be completely different than the road they were going down. But you're coming in the back door to the same bedroom.
Yeah, exactly. I got to make sure that before we go to sleep, it's an I love you. I appreciate you. I'm excited to see you tomorrow. All of those things. But as you were talking about that, I'm thinking that if somebody has a discrepancy or there's an argument on the horizon, and sometimes, just asking, hey, you want to get this out? Like, is that the goal? Because if the milk's on this shelf or that shelf or whatever it may be, something so stupid or simple, it's like, okay, cool. We can banter. But I think that talking about somebody having that feeling of needing to get something out, expecting an emotional reaction, and you feeling when something is said that was meant to sting does just that and puts you in that defensive mode where it starts with I versus absolutely or exactly. What do you think are some of the tools to get through that with a significant other when it is the fact that they just need to let off some steam?
This episode is sponsored by the Diabetes Network of Arizona, a community built by people living with type 1 diabetes for people living with type 1 diabetes. They host Arizona's only family camp for type 1 diabetics, giving kids and family a place to connect, learn, and feel understood. Every dollar raised stays right here in Arizona, helping local families get the care and supplies that they need. No one should ever face diabetes alone, and with your help, they don't have to. You can make a difference today by clicking the donation link in the description. The Diabetes Network of Arizona, building a stronger, healthier Arizona together. Let's get back into the episode.
What do you think are some of the tools to get through that with a significant other when it is the fact that they just need to let off some steam?
Well, yes, there are three things come to mind immediately. You know Scott Landis.
Oh, yeah. Shout
And I'm
out,
gonna,
Scott. We love you.
yeah, hey buddy. I'm gonna give him some accolades for this. One of the things that he asks when he's in a banter with his Sujitar or whomever, he says, "Hey, is this a deal breaker?"
That's good. That's good. This was for Scott. Attaboy, Scott. I love that.
Yeah, because if it's a deal breaker, we got to really, really dive in and take a good hard look at this. If it's not, then let's keep it where it belongs on the surface and superficial, and deal with it like like spilled milk. It's going to clean up.
Yeah.
Another thing, another tool is that what I do frequently. Did it yesterday. Somebody was saying something, I don't even remember what the conversation was, and I said, "Do I have permission to speak into that?"
Okay. Yeah.
I've never had anybody say, "Well, no."
Yeah.
But once they've given you permission to speak into it, see, you're speaking into it. You're not speaking against it. You're not coming up with something. They know that they're going to hear another point of view. Do I have permission to speak into that?
Yeah. Not to, do I have permission to plead my case or say my point or, yeah, speak into it. So you're adding value to their discrepancy or whatever it is.
Right.
Yeah, that's good.
And so that's a nice tool. And the other one, as I mentioned before, and you mentioned it too, sometimes people just want to be heard. Guys we're fix-it guys, right? Somebody's come, particularly our lover, girlfriend, wife, whatever, comes with an issue or a problem. They just want to spill it for the most part. They don't need it fixed. They don't want it fixed. They don't want you to talk about how to fix it. It's just going to frustrate them. Shut up.
Come on, you're so right.
Zip it.
Oh, that one hit me.
Oh, it's
You're so right.
hard to do. And by the way, if you count to 10 or 110 or drop it until tomorrow, she's probably going to change her mind anyway.
Yeah.
Because we do that.
Yeah.
We're going to think about it. Because most of the time, I know for myself, most of the time when I'm speaking, I'm kind of putting it out there for my own ears. Does this make sense to me? Am I full of BS, or is this making sense? And I kind of put it out there on the table for discussion, not only for somebody else, but for myself. Many, many times, having done that, I'll look back at it and I'll go, "Oh, I know where I could have gone with that." Or, "Yeah, what so-and-so said really impacted me, and I have a much clearer view of that now." So conversations, when they come from a place of love, appreciation, understanding, empathy, you tend more to do that. You can become a better listener. And one of the other things, do you have something to say before I'm going to bridge a little bit?
I mean, so many, but I think I can boil it down. So what I'm taking from that is adding value to the conversation, for one, versus being combative, taking time and to take off the tool belt. Because the second that emotion walks in and somebody starts talking about an issue, I'm like, well, I got this hammer, I got the sawzall, like, let's get to work. We can fix this. But you're absolutely right. And I want to relate to what you're saying about hearing your own voice. And I just had this discussion with a good friend, Joel Bloomquist. If you're watching this, I love you, brother. we're talking about faith and praying and he's talking, he's talking about being in a relationship and how that's a big piece of something that could help him in life. And I told him the best thing that I have found in having a relationship was being able to hear myself speak through problems and never knowing that I needed that. Finding where these emotions are coming from by talking through them without needing any input whatsoever, knowing that it's just reverberating off the walls in one ear and or out my mouth in one ear, right? And I don't need input, and it is me processing and
Right.
simply having somebody there versus being alone and doing it into a mirror or but the moral of that story is that processing has completely changed who I am, and it has uncovered things about myself that I never even thought that I needed to uncover. And I'm like, oh, that's where that came from. Now we can work on that. Like,
Yeah.
thank you for listening. I'm sorry you just went through that whirlwind of a rant, but here we are. And it's the moment of self-reflection and talking. And like you said, I think that's just so important to verbalize that stuff. And now that I've done that to a point where I'm like, ooh, I said too much in the beginning of our relationship. I'm like, I'm sorry, but this is me processing and figuring these things out. Now, being that I've done that so many times, I put up the caution tape. I let Kayla know, listen, there's something that's coming up. There's an emotion that I'm feeling because of X, Y, Z. I'm just going to start talking through this. And so she knows.
Well, that's the other side of that coin. Sometimes, and I've done this with Valerie. I said, honey, do you want me to answer that, or do you want me to? You want some feedback, or do you just want to talk it out?
Yeah.
And many times she said, I just want to talk it out. It's okay.
So good.
I just kick back, relax, listen,
Mm.
and I can feel and I can watch and I can experience her mood beginning to soften and change, and she talks herself through it with me as a sounding board. And almost inevitably, if I speak too soon, it's a mistake.
Yeah.
Like,
Right with you there.
yeah. And speaking of biblical in biblical terminology, there is a verse that says, "Out of the mouth, the heart speaks." It doesn't say in the mind, the heart speaks. I'm not sure it says that anywhere, although it does say, it does reference things that we think about, but out of the mouth, the heart speaks. Sometimes we just need to just spill it. And another verse says not to cry raka at someone even at a distance.
What does that
That,
mean?
that lets us know that verbiage has power.
Mm.
There's a lot of conversation in the world, so-called New Age, which isn't New Age at all. It's thousands and thousands of years old. But it's all of God because He created everything, and He created communication and vibration and emotion and all of that stuff. Words carry power. The Bible is spoken of as the living word. It's the living word because it penetrates. And every time you read it, it gives you something different. And that's usually whatever it is you're needing in the moment.
Mm.
And this thing about, most of us have seen The Secret and some of those. And we know that the vibration, the harmonics of our verbiage carry power, and they carry it for a long distance.
Mm.
And it is felt at a long distance. Now they're discovering that plants communicate with each other. A plant gets attacked by an insect or something, and it lets out a a vibration that they've been able to record, and all the other plants take cover.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, really? So
We are one. We are
we,
one.
we are. We are.
Mhm. Yeah.
So once again, to soften ourselves, to listen, to really enjoy and employ our innate ability to hear each other, to feel each other, to experience each other. When their tears fall, they fall from my eyes. You know, when
Mm.
their breaks, it shatters in my chest. And when we can do that and have that kind of empathy, we can then begin to practice it and initiate it outside our close relationships and to the world. And it's felt, it's palpable. I
Yeah.
mean, animals can tell if
Yeah.
you're anxious or nervous, or dogs will get angry at people that are having a bad moment, or if they're angry people, that dog's going to get angry right back.
Yeah. Yeah. And walking into a room, sometimes you have a quote unquote gut feeling about somebody or something, and there's something that's telling. I mean, a lot of that, in my opinion, is just the energy that somebody is putting off, or that was left in that room or that space. And there's something innately primal about listening to those and realizing that you can change the energy that you put out and exude.
Absolutely. You can walk into a room and change the state in a moment, one way or the other. There's only one thing more contagious than enthusiasm, and that's the lack of it.
Oh, come on. Hold on. Hold on. I have to touch on what you just said because I think it is the most important thing that somebody can do for a loved one while they are still with us in this meat sack of a body that we have in this beautiful world that we live on. But I have told myself for the last decade that I'm going to tell everyone that I love what they bring into a room, because you don't know what you bring into a room without somebody telling you. And I always thought that was so interesting. And maybe it was just me wanting to know, like, did I just kill the energy here? Did I just make it better? And there's a few people that we've lost in our life where I got the moment to sit down with them and tell them exactly what they brought into a room in social situations, how I was just so excited for that person to be there because there would never be a dull moment. The stories that they told, the smiles that they brought out of everybody, and how they exuded whatever it was that they were. And, I think that is really important. Tell the people around you not only what you've learned from them, but what they bring into a room. And
It's
you saying that was just special. And I want to say, too, as a young child, I've always felt like such an old soul. And you were somebody that never treated me as a young child. We've always had conversations that I felt as though I felt at home talking to you because you didn't treat me like a kid. And I just want to give you your flowers because you've always treated me as just another individual, and it gave me an equal opportunity to have good, in-depth, non-surface level conversations and get into things. So that's for you.
that's a reflection on yourself.
Oh, geez.
When you the only reason you feel that and know that is because that's who you are, and we recognized that when you were. I don't even know. We have quite a distance in years between us, but I never treated you like a child because I didn't see you as a child. I saw you as a bright young man who was. I hate to use the word old soul. It might offend some, but I don't think it should. Uh, you've been insightful and considerate. I mean, truly considerate. If you would dissect that a little bit, to really consider those around you, consider your impact, consider their comfort, consider their delight in the world and how you might contribute to that. You're considerate.
Mm.
And because you have always been that way, I saw those wheels spinning, and I enjoyed diving in there with you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was a time of my life that it was hard to connect with people that were my age. I had much older friends that I couldn't like go hang out with because it was, very seldomly could I. So I would find things to do that brought older people around so I could hang out. I could have a good time. We could BS. We could, have real conversations about things.
Yeah.
And, I just always felt like you brought that into my life. So
Thank you.
yeah.
Appreciate that. I'm glad I could be of service. And yeah, when we begin to practice those things, uh, take off the armor, let the shield down,
Mm.
and allow people to see in us, and allow them to see themselves through us. And if we have the ability to communicate that, it is a beautiful gift. And there's one that's, it's better to give than to receive. And what we get in return is spectacular. It's magnificent. It's the most wonderful experience of all to know that you've been an influence, that you can improve somebody's life. Like I was said at the outset, when my greatest indulgence is being able to please you and to cheer you up and to have that smile come on your face and to warm your heart and give you a sense of belonging and comfort and delight with the world. Just how does it get any better?
That's the pinnacle of life right there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And with so many outside forces just trying to rip you of that and strip you of being able to flex that muscle and being able to find the love in your woman's eyes and feel that with your own and your heart and hers. And yeah, what would you say would make for a good reset if somebody is veering off that path and maybe letting stress weigh them down? And how do you re-find yourself and finding love in others?
It is an intention.
Mm.
It's a decision and an intention. When I have been practicing the skills of looking past unattractive behavior through all of that into a heart that is needy and wants to be loved, understood, and appreciated. And virtually every single thing that we do, no matter how heinous it may appear on the surface, is a crying out to be appreciated and loved and understood. And when you can circumnavigate that brashness, that ugliness, and just come in through the back door and get right to that and say, you know what? I've noticed about you, you have a great confidence. You walk with such deliberate stride, like you're truly within yourself.
Mm.
And with this boldness, and when you speak with authority. And those might be descriptions of the very unattractive behavior that they were just exuding, but behind it is a desire to be confident and understood and appreciated and loved.
I love that. So would you say a person listening right now is ready to make some steps and have the intention of seeing and feeling the love that surrounds them? What would be the first step? I'm listening right now, and I'm like, all sounds amazing. Step one would be intention. Would I be writing that down? Would I be praying? What does intention look like?
Yeah, intention looks like making the decision to find the loveliness in people who are unlovely
Mm,
or who you feel are unlovely. I'm
mm,
not talking about your mate or your family or your best friends. I mean, we do that innately. We look past that stuff. And they say a true friend is someone who knows you intimately and likes you anyway.
yeah.
That's easy.
Yeah.
But particularly in maybe somebody you're in business with, or a boss, or an employee, or a cohort, or something, and who just rubs you the wrong way.
Mm,
If you look past that and get through that, dive in through that storm and pop out the other side quickly and say, okay, let's look at the bright sunshine on the other side. What is it about this person? Here's the intention. Here's the decision. Here's the answer to your question. Deliberately look for things that you can admire and appreciate
mm.
and even emulate in that person. Because if you look hard enough, you will find them. And furthermore, when you do find them, let them know that you appreciate it, that you've found it, and that you recognize it.
That's a big one.
It's a big one.
Yeah. And a tough pill to swallow for so many.
Say it again.
And a tough pill to swallow for so many.
Oh, it's tough. Yes, it is. It is tough until you realize that that pill that you just swallowed is for your own benefit.
Mm,
And that pill begins to become very, very sweet.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I can,
it's no longer bitter.
yeah. I mean, that is exactly right. And I think that while you're speaking, I feel as though maybe there's some internal dialogue that I need to change. Instead of, I've always sat back and shown understanding for people around me. I understand why somebody would be a drug addict or ugly or feels this certain way about people. And I think me feeling as though I give them understanding, it's me, quote unquote, showing them love. But I feel as though when you're speaking, it's a semi cop out because I'm not finding things that I admire. I'm saying, well, this person is this way because of their childhood, or they were put in this type of situation, and I'm giving them understanding. But that's halfway there. Understanding and actual admiration are two different levels of the playing field. So to take the next step in showing love and receiving love is the admiration, and being vocal with the admiration is that third step. I mean, that's a hill
Yeah,
to climb.
that's beautiful, Alex. You're practicing it right now.
Mm.
Yeah, way to go. You're looking at that and wondering, how can I apply that? That sounds like a great idea. And how can I apply that to myself and help other people and myself as well? And yeah, that's what I love about you. You're so open and willing to grow and to learn, and that's we all do, of course, to varying degrees, but you to a huge degree
Mm.
a seeker of wisdom and truth, and like you said earlier, Jeff, what are some tools? Give me some tools.
Yeah, I know. I mean, that's how I function, right? And I think a lot of guys are the same way. And
Yeah,
I think that as men do sit down and listen to this podcast and this conversation, I think a lot of this is about putting down the shield for a moment and knowing that you're not broken, but there are cycles within our own mindset that replay, and breaking those cycles by finding the understanding and admiration within yourself too, I think is important, to give yourself the same grace that you're talking about giving others. And gosh, yeah, it took a big ego death of me becoming so sickly on a deathbed, stripped of my strength, stripped of my job and everything that I thought what made a man. And when I came back from that and rebuilt myself, I realized that I didn't need to get into fights to show my manhood. I didn't need to express anger to show that I'm capable. And the wisdom really came from realizing that the vulnerability was the strength and the superpower within it all. But I think what I'm taking from this conversation, and I hope other men do too, is letting that shield down for a moment to ask yourself the right questions, to find the right answers, is just so important. To give yourself the same grace that you would give others in certain situations, and knowing that you can find love in your significant other's smile and their eyes, and you can feel those things as well. I mean, come on. That's just beautiful right there. Well done, Jeff. Full circle, soul purpose episode, soul purpose chapter. And gosh, does this episode is just packed with some soul purpose.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, it's nice to begin to put on the true armor to find out not just what makes a man, but what is a man made of. And when it boils down, I grew up in South Tucson and did all that stuff, and was a bad boy and did all of that nonsense. And I was a show off and an adrenaline junkie, and beat myself up pretty badly. And in the end, to some degree, I realized that I was trying to fulfill a role or a description that others had made for me, and trying to step up to that bar instead of creating my own bar. And like you said, what is it that makes a man? Is it trying to perform the way others expect me to? Or is it finding who I am and exploring that and becoming the best that I can be, that I was designed innately to be? And when I find that in protecting myself and developing myself and lifting myself up, as you said, it then becomes easy to find in others, and I'm not excusing their behavior, because that's just an excuse. Well, he did this because of the background or whatever. No, what is he really made of? What's underneath that behavior? And can I speak into that? Can I recognize that? And in doing so, recognize some of it in myself.
Wow. Those are the questions right there, ladies and gentlemen. To ask those questions to yourself, of yourself, for yourself. Gosh, yeah. You can't do anything but find something there. There's things to be found. And we continually grow and we continually learn with every single conversation and every single moment in our lives. And taking a moment, maybe 100, and really finding your soul purpose. And I think, you and I hope a lot of people listening here just find their soul purpose in helping their neighbor, helping their loved one, and helping the people around them in one way or another. And it could be as simple as having a conversation, or you talking things out loud and figuring it out for yourself, which benefits everybody around you. And there's so many different ways to find your purpose. And Jeff, I just want to thank you for coming on the show and gracing us with all the wisdom and all the knowledge, and you just being such an accomplished individual who has been a serial entrepreneur, an author, a licensed hypnotherapist. I mean, you've lived a lot of amazing life. And so there's a lot of merit in what you say. And I appreciate you coming on the show to do so.
Well, it is such an honor to be the first of chapter 4 here. This is was wow, putting souls on the feet and lightening some souls, and it's just a tremendous honor. Always is, Alex, and you know how much I love you, and I love what you're doing, and the people who support you, and of course we wish for and pray for all the very, very best with all of you who support, who watch, who contribute, and let's get some shoes on those kids' feet.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Jeffrey Vanderveer, incredible conversation as always. Before we let you go, where can the people find you? And if there's anything else you'd like to leave with the audience, now'd be the time.
Well, you can hit me at jeffvanderveer@yahoo.com. If you have a desire to have a conversation, you want to just get something off your chest, you're welcome to call me. My phone is almost always on. And I'm just going to spit the number out there. It's 714-655-7365. Welcome to call me anytime. And I'll be here.
And how about your book? Let's plug your book before we let you go.
Oh, yeah. Demystify Your 7 Senses.
Go get it. Go get it.
On Amazon.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, Jeffrey Vanderveer, I love you. Thank you so much for being here.
Love you, nephew. You take good care. Keep up the good work.
I appreciate you, man. All right. Bye. I don't know about you guys, but I always feel so much better after having a conversation with my Uncle Jeff. And you saw it live, us workshopping things within our lives as we're speaking and coming to realizations. And that's what People Helping People is all about. Sitting down with the ones you love or the ones that you don't even know and having real conversations, right? Looking behind the curtains. Why are they doing the things that they do? What is the message that they want to give to the world? And what could that mean to people like us? So, incredible conversation. Thank you again, Jeffrey Vanderveer, for being on the show. And I want to thank you guys for tuning in to our first episode of Chapter 4, Soul Purpose. Incredible. And if you guys want to support People Helping People Live, go to peoplehelpingpeoplelive.com, become a subscriber of the show. We have 3 different tiers. We have the supporter, the advocate, and the super supporter. Any which one of those tiers, you get artwork sent directly to your house once a month with a newsletter of what we've got going on, a sticker pack, and every single subscriber that counts as a donation of a pair of shoes to a kid that's in need. And at the end of the chapter, we're going to take our boxes of shoes and show you guys the impact that we here at People Helping People are making. So that's it. I'm going to get off my soapbox. I'm going to go implement some things that Jeffrey taught us today, and I hope you guys do too. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. We love you. We'll catch you all on the next one. Deuces.
Yeah. What's everybody fighting for? Why can't people help people? That's the question.